So, well, you can't even see that. All right. Alright, so I'm going to be doing a reading, and we'll use the Bible to do this. This is how I do my angel oracles. I'm just going to shuffle these up real quick. Alright, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I picked 7 cards. So I picked my 7. Alright, so let's see what the first one says. Okay, 1515. So it's the big break. Innovation, focus, creation, progress, momentum, mastery. All right. Okay, achievement, passion, and exciting opportunities, support, or extra resources are heading your way. Keep moving forward with enthusiasm and enjoy the process. True success comes from passion, and your dedication will be handsomely rewarded. And definitely hard work actually does have a lot of I want to say hard work is actually a really good thing to do or to have. It's a good trait. I don't know how else to word that right now. Okay, so I'm going to just randomly open the Bible and we'll see what happens here. Okay, so progress. Yes, definitely progress. You got to have momentum to have progress. In order to progress, you got to move forward. You got to be able to have some sort of drive to want to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to open this up and sit. Here we go. So Psalms chapter 129 says, "Greatly have they afflicted me from my youth. Let Israel now say, greatly have they afflicted me from my youth. Yet they have not prevailed against me. The plowers plowed upon my back. They made the long furrows. The Lord And they made long their furrows. The Lord is righteous. He has cut the cords of the wicked. May all who hate Zion be put to shame and turned backward." So that actually says a lot of things right there. If you don't progress, you're going to be going backwards, because how are you going to be able to do anything if you're not on the right path to do it on there? So redirection is always in order. Okay. So this next one, let's see, we've got protection, and that's a big one, because who is your protector? My protector is God. Okay? God is my driver. He's always going to be the one that I look to for any guidance. So I'm going to look to my higher power, which is God, in the Holy Bible and in the heavens. Okay? And that is how I'm going to believe. So the CETO protection 444. Okay, it says transformation, courage, alignment, clarity, purpose, strength, divine love. Okay, prepare for the blessings you've been waiting for. They are on their way. You were born for a higher purpose. Okay, finding your energy, finding your purpose. That's a big one. You want to definitely know where you're headed, because if you don't know where you're headed, then you still have doubts, you have worries, you have anxieties, you're not sure what you're going to do with your life. You want to make sure that those things are in order. Now, if you don't have that in order, sometimes even just thinking, taking some time, stepping back, just realizing to just try and relax. Don't be so stressed out, you know. That way you can figure out what works for you and what doesn't. So, like for me, I have PTSD. So PTSD, of course, has been a real stressor. And so I have had a hard time trying to redirect myself and my life and my thinking. So anytime I do that, it's hard for me. But I'm doing it. I had to make a change for myself. I had to leave my ex because he was abusing me. There's no reason for anybody to be abused. it's unhealthy. It's not right, and to be able to move forward, I had to leave my abuser. And there was a lot of times where I couldn't leave because it was unsafe to do so. And it was like, if I leave now, I'm not going to be able to progress forward. I'm not going to be able to change my life for the better because I'm still in the same situation I've been in for 10 to 15 years. And there's more than one person being, treated unfairly here. So focus your energy on your goals and trust that the universe will align the right people, opportunities, and resources to realize your dreams. So you can't, when you're being abused, your dreams don't seem to be even there. It's like, forget your dreams if you're being abused. But that's not true, because when you leave, your dreams are still there. Dreams, it's just what you want, your aspirations, your goals, things that you want to do with your life, things that you see yourself doing. It's everything. It means everything. So let's see here. So this would be perfect. So my soul waits for the Lord. So let's see, Psalm chapter 130. Out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord. O Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to the voice of my pleas for mercy. If you, O Lord, should mark iniquities, O Lord, who could stand? But with you there is forgiveness, that you may be feared. I wait for the Lord, my soul waits, and in his word I hope. My soul waits for the Lord, more than watchmen for the morning, more than watchmen for the morning. O Israel, hope in the Lord, for with the Lord there is steadfast love, and with him is plentiful redemption, and he will redeem Israel from all his iniquities. That's a good read right there. Now it's raining, so there's a lot of good thunder. I'm sure that my video picked up on that. Okay, so let's see here. So 1717, a drama alert. Ooh, this is a big one. Get negative people out of your life. There is no reason for anybody to have somebody that just sucks the energy out of you. There are people that are called fun suckers for a reason. You want a fun suck? Be my guest, but not over here, because I enjoy life. I'm not going to sit there and say that anything is perfect, and I know that sometimes I'm boring, but at the same time it's like, okay, you got to think, who wants drama in your life? Think about it. Drama causes problems, unwanted things. Nobody wants to have to deal with it. It's too much stress. There's all this pile up. There's all these people that get involved, and then everything's like entangled in all this negative energy. It's never going to be productive. And for what? To get out on top? To be stuck on the bottom? Or to be put down, belittled, treated like you don't deserve anything? I don't think so. To be drama free, you got to figure out what stresses you don't want to live with, what stress you can live with, what's positive and what's negative. And if you're okay with it, then it's okay. And there's always going to be some normal stress, right? You're always going to have something that comes along that, life is going to put you down at times, but it's not definitive for the rest of your life. It's, you are what you make of it. So if you make it negative, then it's going to be negative. If you keep positive and you just be optimistic about it, and you try to move forward and you try to perfect the imperfections, things that you don't like about yourself, say, for example, you don't like that you're screaming all the time because you have PTSD. I know I scream when I have PTSD. That's a symptom. I don't like it. But sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just have to yell. But at the same time, there comes to a point where you have to have self-control. And that's where it comes down to, okay, I need to change this about myself, because if I get to that point where this has become a crutch, I need to redirect myself and my thinking. So therapy is a good thing to do. Maybe talk to a friend. Maybe sit down and just try to relax. Maybe try to find some ASMR tingles. Like I like to go watch Miotonin's lives on YouTube. She's a great person, and I like her videos, and it helps me relax. So before I go to bed, I watch ASMR, or I'll make a video or different things like that, just to redirect my thinking into something more purposeful, more positive. Because, like this card says right here, independence, purpose, solitude, growth, healing, aspiration. Take a few deep breaths and turn your focus inward. Okay, you got to focus on yourself. Without, if you're focused too much on everything else, then you're not taking care of yourself. Yes, there is a point in your life where it's like you do have to focus on other people, but you don't want to make it your main focus, because you have to be able to balance yourself while being able to balance other relationships outside of your own self. So it's a big one. So take a few deep breaths and turn your focus inward. You need time to reflect and consider your options. Rely on your inner strength and trust that you're moving on the right direction. What may seem like a pause in activity is simply a natural part of your journey. That's a great one right there. Journey. Okay, let me see here. So, come bless the Lord. Let's see, chapter 134 in Psalm says, "Come bless the Lord, all you servants of the Lord who stand by night in the house of the Lord. Lift up your hands to the holy place and bless the Lord. May the Lord bless you from Zion, he who made heaven and earth." That's a nice one. That's a really short book. I mean, not a book, but a short passage in chapter 134. Let's see what else we got here. All right. Let's see what it's having me read. Blessings of wisdom. Okay, the blessings of wisdom. So this is in Proverbs chapter 8, and it says, "Blessings of wisdom. Does not wisdom call? Does not understanding raise her voice? On the heights beside the way, at the crossroads, she takes her stand. Beside the gates in front of the town, at the entrance of the portals, she cries aloud. To you, O men, I call, and my cry is to the children of man. O simple ones, learn prudence. O fools, learn sense. Herefore I will speak noble things, and from my lips will come what is right. For my mouth will utter truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are righteous. There is nothing twisted or crooked in them. They are all straight to him who understands, and right to those who find knowledge. Take my instruction instead of silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than jewels, and all that you may desire cannot compare with her. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and I find knowledge and discretion. Now, knowledge and discretion comes with independence and purpose also. Okay, solitude, independence, being alone, being okay to be alone and be wise about it. Okay, so I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and I find knowledge and discretion. The fear of the Lord is hatred of evil, pride and arrogance, and the way of evil and perverted speech I hate. I have counsel and sound wisdom. I have insight. I have strength. By me kings reign, and rulers decree what is just. By me princes rule, and nobles all who govern justly. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently find me. Riches and honor are with me, and enduring wealth and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, even fine gold, and my yield than choice silver. I walk in the way of righteousness, in the paths of justice, granting an inheritance to those who love me, and filling their treasuries. The Lord possessed me at the beginning of his work, the first of his acts of old. Ages ago I was set up, at the first before the beginning of the earth. When there are no were when there were no depths I was brought forth, when there were no springs abounding with water, before the mountains had been shaped, before the hills I was brought forth, before he had made the earth with its fields, or the first of the dust of the world. When he established the heavens, I was there, when he drew a circle on the face of the deep, when he made firm the skies above, when he established the fountains of the deep, when he assigned to the sea its limit, so that the waters might not transgress his command. When he marked out the foundations of the earth, then I was beside him like a master workman, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in his inhabited world, and, and delighting in the children of man. And now, sons, listen to me. Blessed are those who keep my ways, hear instruction and be wise, and do not neglect it. Blessed is the one who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting beside my doors. For whoever finds me finds life and obtains favor from the Lord, but he who fails to find me injures himself. All who hate me love death. Wow. That is a powerful passage right there. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 1 through 36. And that goes into purpose and independence, because you have to know, well, when you have a purpose, you have a reason to do something. You have that drive for it, for whatever it is that you're trying to do. So you definitely want to just move forward, and you got to work hard, because with that, when you work hard towards your goals and your aspirations, a lot of times you'll find that your aspirations will be met on there, which is a good thing. Okay, so 666 is reflect, healing, empathy, self-discovery, compassion, awareness, inner peace. Unexpected changes around the horizon, challenging your thoughts and feelings. This is a primary opportunity to reassess your identity. Okay. Embrace a mindset shift, opt for optimism, confidence, and trust. Listening to your intuition and understanding your emotions are key to your growth and evolution. Okay, that's a good one. So I'm seeing a different person here. I'm seeing change. It's going to take a lot of time for this change to happen. But there's going to be things that you're going to have to work towards, because you're going to have some self-love and to empathize with other people, so that way you know that this may take time, but your inner peace is also at stake here, because of the fact that things never changed. And there are things that are coming up that you couldn't foresee, but it's like, without these things set in place, those lessons would never be learned, and you would never have that experience to be more mindful and more wise about what you've been through. Because moving on is just the beginning in this situation. But you just need to, when you move on and move forward, you need to find your out, and listen to your gut, because your gut will tell you, is this right for you? Is this wrong for me? Am I doing what I need to be doing? Am I doing what I shouldn't be doing? Things like that. I'm just going to keep it simple. So, and this is perfect right here. Chapter 9 in Proverbs, verse 13, it says, the way of folly. Okay, the woman folly is loud. She is seductive and knows nothing. She sits at the door of her house. She takes a seat on the highest places of the town, calling to those who pass by, who are going straight on their way. Okay, whoever is simple, let him turn and hear. And to him who lacks sense, she says, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the dead are there, that her guests are in the depths of Sheol. So in a way, it's talking about solitude, being selfish. So this is probably talking about somebody who's being extremely selfish. You shouldn't be selfish with your ways. There are certain things that you can be selfish about. So don't feel like you have to be selfless with every single thing, because there are certain things that you shouldn't be selfless with. Okay, so like chapter 10 in Proverbs, it says, the Proverbs of Solomon, a wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish son is a sorrow to his mother. Treasures gained by wickedness do not profit, but righteousness delivers from death. The Lord does not let the righteous go hungry, but he thwarts the craving of the wicked. A slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. He who gathers in summer is prudent son, but he who sleeps is harvest is a son who brings shame. Blessed are the head of the righteous, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. The memory of the righteous is a blessing, but the name of the wicked will rot. The wise of heart will receive commandments, but a babbling fool will come to ruin. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out. Whoever winks the eye causes trouble, and a babbling fool will come to ruin. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses. On the lips of him who has understanding, wisdom is found, but a rod is for the back of him who lacks sense. The wise lay up knowledge, but the mouth of a fool brings ruin near. A rich man's wealth is his strong city. The poverty of the poor is their ruin. The wage of the righteous leads to life, and gain of the wicked to sin. Whoever heeds instruction is on the path to life. And see, there's path right there. So this right here, self-discovery, awareness, and inner peace. Okay? Reflect. Unexpected changes are on the horizon. Okay? Reassess your identity. That's opportunity. Okay? The righteous is delivered from trouble, and the wicked walks into it instead. Okay. 0440. 0440. The gut feeling. Okay, this goes into your intuition. You know, if you have a feeling about something and you don't feel right, what do? You question it. There's things that you're not sure about, and there's things that you are certain about, but you're not sure if you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, or both in some cases. So let's see what this one says. Intuition, integrity. Integrity comes with truth, being honest with yourself, being honest with others, being honest with yourself and others. Because an honest person walks with integrity. That's respect you can't own unless you've earned that integrity to have respect about it. You know, definitely a good thing. Okay, I can't talk sometimes. Okay, so intuition, integrity, relationships, value, insight, perception, love, commitment. Okay, so how you perceive things, how you look at things in love and your commitment. So if you value your relationships and you know that what you're doing is the right thing in your relationship, then stay in that relationship. Keep working towards your goals. But you know, even then in a relationship, working together makes a difference, because like, for example, when my ex and I didn't get along, it wasn't one-sided, because it was like, well, okay, it was one-sided to some extent, because it was like pulling teeth. But there were times where it was like, okay, we just got to learn to accept things that we cannot change, because you can't force a person to believe or think the way you do, because we're all different individuals. So to be discerning with your inner spirit, to reflect on the things that you do in person and in life with other people. You better be very careful with how you are. This is somebody who definitely needs to look inside themselves and think, is this really truly what you want to do with your entire life? Because there is no going back. It's a commitment that has to be fulfilled, because this is your responsibility. There is no exception to a responsibility. That's like having a child and saying, you have a responsibility to this child. You made your bed, now lie in it. Take accountability for your actions. Trust your intuition. So it's more than just a feeling. Be genuine with others and prioritize meaningful relationships. Remember to bring value to every interaction. Treat others with respect, as your actions will return to you in kind. Be mindful of your boundaries, as too many voices can cloud your journey. So knowing how to keep your circle small, because it's not about popularity here. This is about inner self perseverance, integrity for your own self and your own truth, accountability for your own actions and different things that you're trying to do with your life. You have to make that commitment, and the commitment is valuing that inner self, but also knowing that there are things that you have to walk away from. There's also things that you shouldn't be walking away from, that you need to actually stay true to yourself, true to other people, but with consideration that you cannot force somebody's hand. You cannot force somebody to believe what you believe just because you believe it. You can talk to them about it. You can tell them what you believe, but to force somebody to believe what you believe, that's never going to happen, because then it's not a natural belief. It would make it more convincing. That's like coercion, and nobody needs somebody to coerce them, because that's a form of mental abuse. Okay, so chapter 11 in Proverbs says, this is verse 1 in the Holy Bible, okay? It says, a false balance is an abomination. So right there, a false balance. False beliefs coincide with false balance. You can't falsely believe in something because you don't believe it. If you don't believe it and you're saying you believe it, that's false. So that's an actual abomination to the Lord. That's one example. So a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. Okay, when pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with the humble is wisdom, the integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. Riches do not profit in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivers from death. The righteousness of the blameless keeps his way straight, but the wicked falls by his own wickedness. The righteousness of the upright delivers them, but the treacherous are taken captive by their lust. When the wicked dies, his hope will perish, and the expectation of wealth perishes too. The righteous is delivered from trouble, and the wicked walks into it instead. With his mouth, the godless man would destroy his neighbor, but by knowledge the righteous are delivered. Okay, to be knowledgeable, you have to be wise, because knowledge is power. To be able to obtain what you have already known, To be wise about it, you have to be able to discern whether it's right or wrong. If you don't know the difference, then you can't discern between the two, because that would mean indifference. And indifference says there's two differences, okay? You either love one or you hate the other, or you hate one and you love the other. But you can't do both. You can't hate one, love the other, and hate the one and love the other at the same time. You have to, that sounded kind of weird. You can't hate one, love the other, and then love the other and hate the one, and vice versa. You can't do that. You have to be able to unconditionally learn to respect the values of somebody else's nature. Even if you don't agree with them, doesn't mean that you have to. You don't have to agree with everything. Not everybody is meant to do the same thing that everybody else is meant to do. We all have individuality for a reason. Everybody has a personality of their own, just like we all have our own fingerprint that is separate from everybody else's. That gives everybody individualism. That's your personality, not everybody else's. There are people that have similarities, but you can't force somebody to be something they're not, because it's not real. That would make a fake person. It would create a facade that nobody needs. Too much stress. Too much stress. Okay, so I'm going to finish reading that. So I'm going to start over. So on chapter 11 in Proverbs, it says, "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. When pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with the humble is wisdom. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. Riches do not profit in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivers from death. The righteousness of the blameless keeps his way straight, but the wicked falls by his own wickedness. The righteous of the upright delivers them, but the treacherous are taken captive by their lust. When the wicked dies, his hope will perish, and the expectation of wealth perishes too. The righteous is delivered from trouble, and the wicked walks into it instead. With his mouth the godless man would destroy his neighbor, but by knowledge the righteous are delivered. When it goes well with the righteous, the city rejoices, and when the wicked perish, there are shouts of gladness. By the blessing of the upright, a city is exalted, but by the mouth of the wicked, it is overthrown. Whoever belittles his neighbor lacks sense." Narcissists do a lot of that. They lack sense because they like to put people down all the time to make themselves look good. You don't look good. You look terrible. It's bad for your health. Whoever belittles his neighbor lacks sense, but a man of understanding remains silent. Whoever goes about slandering reveals secrets, but he who is trustworthy in spirit keeps a thing covered. Truth and being honest with yourself and being respectful to other people is a big deal. Zero 110. Belief system. Authenticity, destiny. So what is your purpose in life that you are meant to fulfill? Where is your path and where is your journey at? What is your drive for your life? Are you meant to be a psychologist? Were you meant to study forensics? Were you meant to be a chemist, a doctor maybe? You got to pursue your goals to some extent. You got to see what your options are. See what your gifts are too, because if you have a talent, if you say you're an artist, and you like to draw, you like to paint, or maybe you like to swim, maybe you like exercising, and there's things that you want to do with yourself, and maybe something that you can share with somebody else. Maybe It's teaching somebody how to swim, because not knowing how to swim, and then you're stuck in the water, you can't swim, you can't stay above water, what's going to happen? You're going to drown, or you're going to learn how to swim and keep yourself above water. Either way, you got to find a connection somehow, because some direction is going to pull you either way, or both in some cases. But you don't want to be drowning, because you know that drowning, you wouldn't be able to breathe, and you need air to breathe. It's like, finally, I can relax. I trust in the Lord with all my heart. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 6 says, I can breathe because I deserve a good life. And so do you. You are blessed with unique talents and skills that set you apart. Embrace what makes you different. This is your path to success. Trust that your dreams are on the way to becoming reality. Stand tall in your individuality and go after what you truly desire. Bang! Right there. All in your belief system. Your belief system. My belief system. This is my driver. Well, this is my driver. Right here. This is what I go to when I'm having a hard time with my life. And even when I'm not having a hard time with my life, I read the Bible constantly. It's a wonderful guide. There are so many things. Every single thing that I could think of that I have been through, to some extent, is in here. Talks about abuse. It talks about women. It talks about respect. It talks about men being faithful to their wives. It talks about redirecting your life when you're down and out and you don't have anywhere to go, to trust in the Lord. This is my driver. And hopefully one day maybe it's yours. I hope it is now. Let's see here. We're going to randomly pick a passage here. Perfect, right here. I'm going to highlight that too. It says, for the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are those who wait for him. And that's in Isaiah chapter 30, verse 18. Yeah, I'll read from the beginning of verse 18, because it says here, the Lord will be gracious. It says here in Isaiah chapter 30, verse 18, it says, therefore the Lord waits to be gracious to you, and therefore he exalts himself to show mercy to you. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all those who wait for him. I prayed to God to get out of my situation, because when I was being abused, it took me a long time to realize that I don't deserve to be treated like I'm a piece of trash, because I'm not a piece of trash. I'm a human being that deserves respect, loyalty, honesty, and integrity is all alongside me and within me. And I have respect for myself. So I walked away with my dignity. Okay, so we've got 9999. Okay, so lessons learned. Combination, or excuse me, not combination, culmination, results, benefits, reflection, completion, achievement, growth, gratitude. Reflect on your achievements and the journey that led you here. This reminder encourages you to stay optimistic and keep striving towards your goals. Keep your momentum supported by the powers of heaven. You've accomplished great things. Now embrace the rewards you have earned. So, say, working really hard for the things that you own. I own my path to healing because I took the liberty in taking myself out of an abusive situation, actually, two abusive situations that lasted anywhere between 10 to 15 years total between the two. I left the situation, all of the situations. I just considered it one big situation, and that was the enough for me. I said, I've had enough of this. I'm leaving. I'm not going to deal with this no more. I don't have any time for it. I've got to go. Sayonara. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is nothing better to do than to leave when it is safe to do so. Sometimes it does take time to leave, and it's easier said than done. But there are a lot of people that go through things that people don't understand, that sometimes you just can't leave right away. Sometimes it's your safety that's at risk if you do. You have to be able to know when it is safe to leave, especially if you're in an abusive situation. That is the biggest thing I can't stress enough. There is not one person on this planet that it hasn't been given a way. When there's a will, there's a way, and there is always a way. So, like this right here, it says, this is in Isaiah again. Okay, in chapter 30, verse 27, it says, Behold, the name of the Lord comes from afar, burning with his anger, and in thick rising smoke. His lips are full of fury, and his tongue is like a devouring fire. His breath is like an overflowing stream that reaches up to the neck, to sift the nations with the sieve of destruction, and to place on the jaws of the peoples a bridle that leads astray. You shall have a song as in the night when a holy feast is kept and gladness apart, as when one sets out to the sound of the flute, to go on to the mountain, or to go to the mountain of the Lord, up to the rock of Israel. And the Lord will cause his majestic voice to be heard, and his descending blow of his arm to be seen in furious anger, and a flame of devouring fire, with a cloudburst and storm and hailstones. The Assyrians will be terror-stricken as the voice of the Lord when he strikes with his rod, and every stroke of the appointed staff. And the Lord lays on them will be to the sound of tambourines and lyres. Battling with brandished arm, he will fight with them. For a burning place has long been prepared. Indeed, for the king it is made ready to its pyre, made deep and wide with fire and wood in abundance. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of sulfur, kindles it. So they always say, don't feed the fuel to the fire, because what happens when you feed fuel to the fire of somebody's fury? It gets worse. You want to be able to maintain your composure and have respect. And also, even with disagreements, you want to know and tell yourself, I know I might not agree with everybody, and there are things that I have issues with. But even in that respect, I still have respect for others, like I would have respect for my own self. And how others perceive me, I will keep that respect. not just for myself, but also for others, for both of us. Because respect is number one. Without respect, you have no foundation. Without respect, you have no integrity. There is no integrity with respect if the respect isn't there. You have a beautiful mind. Cherish it. And look inside yourself and see who you really are as a person and what your purpose is in life. I'm going to end it there, but thank you for watching, and I hope everybody enjoyed this channel. My name is Misfit Me 86, and I hope you have a blessed day.